What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Off the Wall. Today we are reviewing the latest episode of the Bad Batch. That's episode 10. It's called Retrieval. I'll be one of your reviewers today. My name is Bogz with my girl Sol. How are you today, Sol?
Doing good, and I see that you didn't even attempt.
I did. I have a desk, and I did it underneath a desk because I didn't want to embarrass myself. Because I always get it wrong. I think overall this episode was, if you get the definition of filler out of the dictionary and apply it to an episode of TV, I think it was this animated version. But yeah, I mean, I felt like it was really directed at kids, like life lessons via Omega. Basically, retrieve the ship. They go on a little adventure. They get the ship by the end and go off, and doesn't really have any bigger implications or anything like that to the story overall, or just the time period that they're in or anything like that. But not a bad episode, but definitely filler. What do you think of this episode?
I would agree wholeheartedly with you. This was definitely one where I talk about my niece a lot when it comes to the Star Wars stuff, where she would thoroughly enjoy this episode, and I feel like the adults in the room are like, oh, it's Star Wars. But so it was okay, but it's not anything like out of this world or anything exciting that we watched.
Yeah, unfortunately not. I mean, there has been them episodes in this season. So we'll just do a quick rundown of kind of what we like or didn't like about this episode. I thought the music was good once again. Kevin Kiner, obviously super talented. Now I really want to see him score a movie one day. And the animation, the effects, you whatever you want to call it, I thought that was good as well. Of course, it's good every episode, to be honest, but as I said, it didn't tie in to the bigger story. I was hoping it would. And the last episode as well was obviously a lead up to this. The last episode was better, I'd say, than this one, in terms of more entertaining and learning about Ipium and all that stuff. So, but is it Mizzo? Is that his name? Mizzo or something?
Mako.
Yeah. The just learning about like Ipium dealing and like what the kids on the planet doing to survive, and them stealing and kind of being paid in rations. But I got Force Awakens vibes in this, with Rey on at the start of the movie, and then at the end scene when he dies as well was a bit like Kylo Ren on Starkiller Base. The look of it, the aesthetics on that planet. Yeah, what are some of your highlights in this episode?
I think it's gonna be weird to go to like the very last scene of when they said when Omega was saying the Empire is not the only threat. We've seen so many in the galaxy like Mako, and so maybe that can tie into future episodes that they might be going against people that aren't really part of the Empire but still aren't great guys. I hope that that's not a bunch of the episodes, but I can see that like being the tie-in for this is what we're doing now for this season, is going after bad guys. So it's kind of a good thing, but then can be a bad thing in the future. So it's one of those, that was a little nice tie-in there to talk about the morality of this show and the morality of people, because Mako is awful. Yeah, the Ipsium is perfectly fine, but he keeps telling everyone that it's not, and so therefore like rations are low and I can't pay people as much because the quality of the Ipsium's not great, while he's raking in all that money. And I could just see that the kind of the moral or the theme was just like, yeah, this is like how kind of major corporations sometimes work, is that greed of the people at the top. And so, but then the end was kind of, oh, we're taking over and we're beating him and he falls off the side. And I was like, that was kind of anticlimactic. So there was like good and bad, and some of the parts that were good can also be bad, and some of the bad parts can also be good. So it was one of those weird episodes.
Yeah, and there's such a discrepancy between the really engaging episodes, and I'm going to call this like a kid episode, where you're being taught these life lessons, but really for the adults in the room or watching, it's not really too engaging. It's not emotional in any way, not too much action. So I don't understand, because this is going to go all the way to the end of March, I believe, if I do the math correctly, episodes wise. So I think there's 16 episodes, so another 6 weeks left, let's say. And I don't know why there's so many episodes. If half of them are going to be filler, or a third of them, then why have we got so many? I know obviously Clone Wars and Rebels, they have the same amount of episodes per season, but then filler episodes, and the filler episodes in this season as well, have previously tied into the saga in general, whether it's the whole Dooku treasure thing in the first episode. At least that's something that we can connect and be interested in, and be involved in. But this was just a complete side mission, which didn't really fascinate me too much. And I was finding it hard to concentrate. This episode, it was not engaging. Unfortunately, it's definitely my least favorite episode of this season. Maybe my least favorite episode of the Bad Batch so far. I was a little disappointed with this. Like I said, not a bad episode, but definitely not as fun as some of the others, because we're getting these familiar missions of trying to obtain something, and they go out and retrieve it. Something bad happens, normally because of Omega, or something that she's got them in trouble with, and then she kind of has a life lesson, and then they get out of it, and mission successful and succeeded, and get off. So, and then kind of run back to Sid again. Omega's sweet, she's a sweet kid, but it's getting to the point now that she's becoming quite annoying every episode, where it's very similar. We're not seeing too much development from her. I've seen more character development in these few episodes from Tech more than Omega. I know she's the kind of moral guidance, good-hearted in the show, and she's obviously a kid, but it is getting a little tedious now. What do you think of kind of Omega and how she's been portrayed so far in this season, and any other kind of character developments that you saw that you liked in this episode?
With Omega, I was just like, oh, she didn't run off on her own this time, which that's something that she's been doing each episode, but she still manages to get in trouble because Benny was, who arguably was more annoying than Omega this episode. But he kind of, in helping them out, also rats them out because he's wanting the love from Mako that he's never going to get. So he ends up, like selling them out when they're there trying to collect the stuff, and then that's when he finds out, oh, Mako's all profiting from this and not giving us any share of it. So he was more annoying, but he still got Omega in trouble, which is just the classic theme of every episode. Like, who's gonna catch Omega? How's Omega gonna be in trouble? How are we gonna save Omega? And I would really like it maybe in future episodes have like someone else be the one that they have to save instead of it just always being the kid, because that seems like weak storytelling if it's happening every week. Like if it was every once in a while they had to save Omega, that would make sense, but it's literally every week.
There is actual loose character development from her, but it's just not compelling at all. In the first season, I think it was slightly more compelling, but now, as you said, it's getting repetitive and a little tedious. But I guess that's it, guys. That's our episode review. Definitely filler. Didn't love it. Wasn't bad. Wasn't terrible at all. But it's just not something that we, eagerly anticipate every week from the Bad Batch. And the high standards that set this season, like I said, there's a lot of kind of swing in terms of discrepancy in terms of the, the quality of the episodes. I'm definitely looking forward to the episode next week. Hopefully they can bring more interesting characters in. A couple episodes ago we had the Emperor. We had all these other characters and a great storyline, Rex, etc. before that. So and then cut into this is actually it's disappointing, to be honest. But what about you? So any final thoughts or predictions for the next episode?
I'm just thinking now, we got the Emperor, we got Grandpappy Palps. Trying to think of like who else we might see that we haven't seen yet. Are we going to see like a Darth Vader or something? Because those are things that are exciting to think about. And I got to think of stuff exciting because this episode wasn't very exciting.
I'd say maybe something to do with Rampart maybe being replaced. Maybe potentially Crosshair or him having an involvement in kind of what to do with the clones and what to do with the Bad Batch, that kind of thing. There'll be some kind of connection. Well, I'm hoping anyway. Back in Coruscant, maybe some decisions are made and that kind of thing. You know, for them to kind of, because they're going to slowly, obviously, come together. Crosshair and the Bad Batch, and we haven't seen that at all yet this season.
Exactly.
Basically.
How's that going to happen?
Exactly. I think it needs to start. I believe there's 6 episodes left, so they need to start. Start that arc and start kicking that off and becoming more interesting. But anyway, that's it, guys. That's been our episode review of episode 10 of the Bad Batch. If you guys are new to the channel, please like, comment, and subscribe. And let us know what you guys think in the comments, of course, of this episode. And we'll catch you guys on the next review.